I wanted to be a career cocaine criminal.
How does a typical teenage boy go from partying with his mates
We're all Jack the lads. We want to go out.
to becoming Britain's most wanted career criminal?
How did that come about?
I had a kilo of cocaine in the car. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a career cocaine criminal. The money, the cars, the clubs, the partying, fueled up on anger, aggression and steroids. Couldn't stop doing the cocaine until I physically couldn't do more. And I went on the run from the police, who are heavily chasing me. Trafficking drugs from south of Spain to north Spain in big white vans. All of a sudden there was just knives everywhere. They pulled a gun on me and told me they were going to shoot me.
The story you're about to hear may include sensitive themes. Please listen with care. The experiences and views shared belong to the individuals involved and reflect their own experiences and beliefs.
So Jason, I've read a bit of your story and I wanted to ask, where it all began for you and what it was like growing up.
Growing up, I had a mum in my life. I think my dad left early doors, probably like 1 or 2 years old. I was bullied badly. I'm like covered in bruises as a kid. And I think maybe that has something to do with what happened later on. But mum done all right. We was brought up in like a council estate around the Croydon area, and she provided, we had food on the table and we lived in the right life.
Mm-hmm. What were you like as a teenager?
I was never in trouble, a bit of a mummy's boy, I think. Yeah, I was a positive lad, and obviously it went a little bit more downhill later on in life.
Can you talk me through what happened?
I think it's probably the wrong crowd. I'm in the wrong crowd. We're all Jack the lads. We're full of testosterone. We want to go out. A scrap happens. We all stay together. We're like a pack of wolves. I end up going to a party at 17 years old, and there was a lad who gave me a bit of trouble the year before, and he walked past and said something, and I punched him, and he hit the floor. I broke his jaw, and then I ended up getting charged with GBH of intent. Obviously regret my actions, and I had to pay the time for it. But unfortunately, when I came out of jail, I didn't change. I actually became 10 times worse and became a prolific criminal in the criminal world.
Before we go on to that, tell me about the moment you realised that you were going to be charged with GBH and you were going to go to prison.
I went to court on my own, so I went not guilty because I didn't understand the justice system, didn't care about the consequences, didn't even think about what GBH was because I didn't really think I'd ever go to jail. So it was just going to be, don't do it again, and off you go.
You thought you were going to get a slap on the wrist?
Yeah, of course. And I remember the judge reading out the thing, and I didn't hear what she said, and then the 2 security officers whacked the cuffs on me. And I was like, how long have I got? And he went, 5 years. And I went, what? I'm going to prison for 5 years? This is crazy. And I remember going in this room, and then the lawyer came in and I just burst into tears.
What was that first day in prison like for you?
Scary. It just wasn't a nice place to be. I've seen people get hot water thrown on them. I've seen a snooker ball get wrapped around some boy's head while playing pool. And this was like an everyday occurrence. It was horrible. And someone introduced me to steroids when I was in there. The testosterone was making me snap at every possibility, and I was really, really aggressive.
Is it fair to say that you didn't come out of prison a reformed individual?
No, I think it's safe to say I didn't. And when I got out, I ended up working for this lady who was a career criminal herself, and I was then her debt collector for all her properties. I was a big lump of a boy, and with an aggression problem, and was willing to go any distance I needed to get money off these people to kick them out.
So just to be clear, so she wanted someone who would be able to intimidate people living in her properties to collect the money and move them out of the properties.
Yeah, so we would obviously kick people out. We was getting the money, and that's how this went. And I just became more and more of a debt collector. I became more and more involved in crime, and I wanted to keep going.
And at that point in your life, do you feel guilt about the crimes that you're committing?
I never saw an exit. I was aggressive, massive, and also had no purpose. But the problem is the steroid addiction that I got then went on for probably 10 years.
And then what happened after that?
It went wrong the day that we kicked this lady out. She's then called the police. And I was like, I ain't going back to prison. I am not going back to prison. And I went on the run from the police, who are heavily chasing me. Remember, I'm not just the average Joe. I've been in for a naughty crime. And it became worse and worse and worse over the course of the weeks, making newspapers, made Crime Watch. And I had a kilo of cocaine in the car to help me go and make money to be on the run. right? We'd stolen it from a drug dealer's house.
So you've gone on the run, you need to get some money, so you decide to rob a drug dealer.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Oh my God. So one of the friends that I made in that area told me that her ex-partner was a drug dealer. They'd broken up and he wasn't a very nice man and she wanted to do him over. So we became friends and she was like, look, I know one of them 3 flats is a drug house. We then staked out these 3 flats, found this little back window of the property that was open and we climbed up the gutter, went under the kitchen sink and there was a briefcase. Opened the briefcase and there it was, all these drugs. Didn't know what it was. Off we went back to my house and there was bricks and bricks and bricks of this white powder.
How much do you think the street value was?
Kilo cocaine's about 30 grand.
Wow.
So it would have gone a long way. And that was it. That was the start of my drug dealing journey. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a career cocaine criminal. It was free to me, so I made stupid amounts of money out of this cocaine, which I distributed around the streets of Cambridge at the time. And once it ran out, I had enough money to go and buy more. And then more and more and more. I was killing it. I was making like 20, 30 grand a week or something mad.
Did you feel bad about what you were doing?
No. It was thrilling at the time. I never saw an exit. I remember one time we was chasing money. We went through a guy's front door. There was 3 of us. We all had 3-sided baseball bats. And I remember my mate hitting this bloke round the head. And I remember his ear just coming off his head. Like, it was disgusting. I caused serious injury to many, many people. Fueled up on anger, aggression and steroids.
And at that point in your life, are you thinking about consequences?
No, never, didn't care.
Why?
I don't know why. I think I felt invincible. Again, remember, I have nothing to lose. I am well known across social media and the internet for what I've done. I think the on the run thing really added who Jason Frost really was. He doesn't give a shit and he's willing to go as far as he needs to.
So you think that added to the appeal when people were working with you?
No, I think, yeah, 100% that, but I also think it added to the unappeal of employees who might want to give me a job.
Right.
No one's going to employ me. You've got to type my name in Google. You'd instantly go, no. There was no point trying.
Did it cross your mind?
A few times when I got a girlfriend, she was like, I can't be with you. So I was like, all right, I'll go get a job. My mate owned a scaffolding firm and I'd go to work for him for a day. And then most of the days I would just leave the house before she did and then she'd go to work and then I'd just come home all day.
Right.
And when I'm even in the scaffolding job, I'm surrounded by scaffolders who just want cocaine.
Right.
And also, you know, the money, the cars, the clubs, the party and everything else, the free life, everyone's going to work doing a 9 till 5. I'm not, that's the exciting part. It's when it goes wrong that you then want to sort your life out.
So there is a moment that you decide to walk away.
Yeah, we were a small fish in a big pond. And the bigger fish clocked on to what we were doing. And I was outside my house one day and I was talking to my friend in my car. It was quite dark and then these 2 balaclavas appeared over the top of his shoulders and then they kicked him out the way. We moved him out the way and both of them just had knives and they were just plunging him into me. And I'm sat in my car and I remember trying to kick them away and I've turned and I'm trying to kick these people away and I'm holding the horn down and people are at the house now screaming. I've got out and I've managed to run and I ran to my friend's house and I've gone and got 2 knives out of his house. I've just gone straight through his front door, got knives, I've run back and my car was gone and they were gone. Anyway, just forgot about it, but actually leaving it became the biggest problem I had because what that then created was weakness. We were then a weak gang who couldn't look after ourselves. And I think a week later, I was then met a guy in a car for a drug deal. And I remember jumping in the back of this big BMW, there was 2 massive blokes in the front of the car. One next to me, and I'd been in the back seat into the middle. And the boy at the front didn't even turn around. He went, let's have a look at that then, mate. Passed it through to him on the front seat. He went, get out of the car. I went, no. And all of a sudden, there was just knives everywhere. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to get killed. So I've got out the car, I'm running for my life. So thinking, and that was it. And that led to just PTSD. I'm on drugs as well. And every time I'd done drugs, I just thought they were outside my house. It was so
you
scary.
Got this paranoia from taking the drugs.
So bad. Couldn't stop doing the cocaine. Remember, it's just there. And I could go until the point of it would never run out. Until I physically couldn't do anymore, I'd collapse on the floor or whatever. And I would go into these psychotic states where I would hear helicopters outside my house. We had CCTV installed on the thing. That was a big mistake. I used to watch the CCTV while doing cocaine, convinced that these people were outside my house, to the point where I used to walk around like Rambo with knives in my pockets or one in my sock and hide them around the house, thinking if they come in, we've got them. You know, when you're a troublemaker, you can't call the police thinking I'm in danger. You got to defend yourself. So I had all these knives hidden around, and that became a seriously bad problem for me for a long time. And I suppose the drug dealing career starting to fade. I'm struggling to pay back drug dealers who I owe money to, because I get so paranoid in my house that I would get all the drugs that I had in there and I'd flush it down the toilet. Because I'd be convinced I could see the police officers in my house. Wow. That's how close they were. There was no way out. I was like, I need to leave. I have to leave. So I ran off with 20 grand, say, I don't know what I had. And I left all this 5-bedroom house with all my furniture in it. I think I had 2 cars on the driveway. I left them all, everything. I never did know where they are today. Oh. And I went to Spain. And then I was in Madrid working in this call centre. And then I realised that the guy was a criminal and we were selling like dodgy credit, like trying to rob people for money on the phone. And I was like, nah. I remember walking out and I remember ringing my mate going, I don't know what I'm going to do, mate. I just feel like I need to kill myself. I need to go up there and I need to jump straight off the top of that building. That's got to be the end of me.
Why did you feel that way?
I felt there was no way out. I'd burnt all my ties in the thing. I've lost all my friends. What do I do? And I remember just thinking, who do I know that's anywhere else in Spain? I remember I've got a cousin in Marbella, and I remember her saying, come down.
So you arrive in Marbella.
Yeah.
What happens next?
I surround myself in career criminals. My life changed from there, really, for worse.
What did that evolve into?
Trafficking drugs from south of Spain to north Spain in big white vans. I signed up to a free pack deal with these guys. I'll do 3 runs and that's me out. I don't want to do it anymore. I've done 2. And then the 3rd one. This is about 3 weeks later. I've been paid 30 grand by these boys. It's about 10 grand a pop. About a day before, there was a Barcelona terrorist attack where a man drove a white van into Barcelona and blew it up. I thought, I ain't driving a white van into that city. No way. You've got to be mad. And that was it. They all turned against me.
Did you know how risky it would be to say to these guys, I'm not doing that final run?
Yeah. These guys are dangerous. You know, I was going to beach clubs with these guys and they're pulling guns on people. Wow. You know, I see a gang member jump in his car and run someone over outside Ocean Club. I always thought that me and my mates in Cambridge Newmarket were the kingpins. I thought we were the top boys. My God, we were nothing compared to this lot. Nothing.
So this final drugs run, you say, I'm not doing it, it's too risky. There's just been an attack by someone in a white van. I'm not driving a white van because I'm going to get checked if I go to Barcelona. Like, this is high risk for me. What was their response?
They pulled a gun on me in Nikki Beach, told me they're going to shoot me. And I remember getting out and I'm just driving and I'm thinking, right, I need to go back to my apartment right now, get all my stuff, pack it in this car and leave, because in the morning I'll be dead. And there was only one flight out that day and it was to Cork in Ireland. And that was the end of my drug dealing days. That was the back of it. That was enough for me to learn that I need to sort my life out.
How did you go about turning your life around? Like, how does that come about?
So I got in my car, went to Brighton, I slept in my car for a few days. I had about £1,000 to my name by this point. I was on dire straits. So I actually went to a gym that had, I was going there because I could shower. I brushed my teeth in there, no one obviously knew what was going on. And then I met a gym owner and I said to him, listen, this is what I've done. Would you give me the opportunity to work in your gym for free? I've got no money. To be able to build a client base, to be able to go and make something of my life. And he went, all right, I'll give you a couple of months for free. Off I went. And I made £20,000 a month as a personal trainer within about a year of being a personal trainer.
Wow.
And now I just use my life story to try and inspire other people that the criminal world isn't all that. And the straight-laced business life is a much better life.
What has your business now been valued at?
Currently, as it stands, it's just over 1.1 million.
Wow. How have you transformed yourself and your values and your views on the world and other people to become the person that you are now?
It hasn't been a straight road of 5 years where I haven't slipped up once. I remember when I first started the business, I was probably still a little bit aggressive.
Yeah.
I still probably thought, am I going to be a drug dealer again?
You don't just click your fingers one day and you're not the person that you are.
And I think that's where people maybe go wrong when they think, tomorrow I'm going to be a new man. We could start a new path. But you being dramatically changed overnight isn't going to happen.
If someone watching this could take home one message or one kind of piece of inspiration from your story, what would you want them to take away?
That change is possible. I've come from the dark depths of being a criminal, but I managed to make a change. It's a shame it didn't happen earlier, but I believe in them. They need to believe in themselves. Surround yourself with good people and they'll believe in you too. And I'm sure people will get behind you to drive you where you need to be.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you sharing your story and the violent past and background that you've had and the way that you've completely turned your life around, which, you know, I think that's really motivating for a lot of people.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
If you or someone you know has been affected by the issues raised in this episode, please refer to the description for external resources.